Oh, what a tangled web I've woven. So, the internet, social media, is modifying our behavior, says Yanis Varoufakis. Now, I'm a huge Yanis fan. But yes, anything will modify human behavior. Human behavior has been modifying since we stood on two legs in Africa, which was itself a modification. Modification is necessary as living conditions change. A million years later, say 1950, we made advertising. Have you seen it? AI advertising, television, movies, behavior modifiers par excellence. Extraordinary changes of behavior. That's their intention. The anomaly with social media is that we, in quotes, can talk back to our modifiers. We, the many, can talk back to the few, but then the few withdrew back into their high-value towers. I remember there was a period of time, 90s maybe, when you could actually pick up a copy of the New York Times, read an article, and then there was a comment section. No, you wouldn't pick up a copy. You would have it online. That's right. Not internet. You would have it online, and you could actually comment on and maybe sometimes the article writer read what you said and responded to it, or went into a huff and withdrew back into their high-value towers. Social media has democratized opinion. It hasn't improved it, God knows. But it was pretty ghastly before social media, let me tell you. And why do you have such a problem with this? You might ask yourself. You don't ask, but you might. Is it an overwhelming good, this ivory tower control? Is social media an overwhelming good? No, nothing is. So it needs to be engaged with. So tower retiring is not an option, Yanis. It does look like something else, which is all over the medias today, Trump totalitarianism, which isn't there, despite what might be the intention. The executive orders have hit the inevitable blocks, the checks, the balances. Some of them are even constitutional. Most are common sense. The checks, not the orders. He has put a stop to one war and might just stop another, but my God, he is more useful, much more useful as a slithering tyrant. He is vital as one, without which we cannot function. Otherwise, we'd have to admit that inequality, the outcome of competition, is our greatest cultural value. Come on, guys. Without it, we'd not be able to identify ourselves. So why complain about inequality? Or if you do, then identify the offender by looking in the mirror. Then by all means get busy modifying those people. Otherwise, stupid is unpersuasive. Elon Musk has robbed no banks, invaded no countries, enslaved no one. Ha ha ha. He is that rich because we are okay with him being that rich. Why? We created the mechanisms for people to become that rich, for that to happen. Why? Because we want to be that rich. Ugh. We could decide that profits don't go exclusively to the owner. We could, but we don't. Or in other words, his wealth would be equally divided among its employees. We don't. And no, you can't have a country full of rich people because then rich becomes meaningless. It's got to look like the effect of competition. I tried this once. I'm making a performance business, a theater company. Every business plan that I was advised about or was read to me involved me getting the money and paying the players whatever I thought fit. I was confused and I said, if I don't play that day, I get no pay. But it's not set up that way, is it? The system demands I requite myself as more valuable than the rest. Modify that and the other stuff just disappears. Trust me. If I'm leading as a player, that is its own reward. I discovered when I was doing that. The business is successful if all the players earn enough. All the rest, where Western commerce exists, the only place it exists, is just a fib, a fantasy in a fantasizing culture. And now you have a bunch of rich people running around who don't even do what Elon does. They don't even work. You know, Bitcoin, come on. The purpose of education should be to make us modification proof or modification light. Adaptable, flexible, yes, which doesn't seem to happen, but I don't know what that is exactly, that what gives us those gifts. It is not thick on the ground, but I wonder what he means anyway. Does he mean it makes extremists of us, social media? I'm pretty sure that the internet or social media has had a drastic effect upon us, like printing the Bible in the language of the people who are trying to read it, to whom it was supposed to apply. That took 1,400 years. It often happens when one realizes the insanity of society as it moves along slowly and unquestioned. Extremism will happen. These are therefore dangerous times to a different group of us that has had reason to be wary for a long, long time. That those people look like me and you, Yanis. For thousands of years, we've not really had to worry. And maybe a good look at the source of our rigidities. The pagan Socrates looked very interesting as a beginning of critical thinking function, but he was sentenced to death, wait for it, for impiety and perverting the youth. A caution, no doubt. Then the academy came, Plato, etc. I don't know how exploratory this was, in fact, how much they were examining what had not been examined and how much they were interpreting the signs like shamans and telling us how to behave. Schools have always been a pesky lot. One will never know, but soon we do know. Unfortunately, the next educators sprang from the church/temple, and by the time we get to the monotheisms, behavior modification is the name of the game. The greatest modifier of human behavior has been forever religion. Several of them, the super old ones before the brutal newcomers, as far as any of us know, explained natural forces for us, prescribed worships, etc., and rites to make sure nature rained upon us enough and not too much, made the salmon run consistently, and perhaps allowed us to understand death better, sensitive spirits that we are. It seems that once that had gone well enough, we attached ourselves to the forces of nature. We ran like the wind. We had the courage of the tiger, the wisdom of the owl, etc. Then we changed. We improved. So I ask Yanis, do you see no connection between conspiracy theory and the very heart of Christianity? Satan, the hatred and red faces that are supposed to dominate algorithms, as far as I can tell, were heretofore the prerogative only of gods, kings, and their attendant lords. Peasants were not allowed indignation. And now, because of Facebook, you seem to say they are allowed, and this distresses you. This democratization worries you.